Hello and welcome once again to this week's edition of Leafwire Industry Trailblazers, where we speak with and learn from some of the industry's true pioneers. It is such a joy for me to welcome Rose Alvarez from CannaSpyglass. Welcome, Rose.
Thank you, Mike.
As a research chemist, which I had no idea, Rose, that you were a research chemist. You're like a science geek. I didn't know that. As a research chemist, Rose moved from a Texas border town to California in 2016 to pursue a career in cannabis. She started with Amuse delivery service and then S10 Labs, and is now the chief customer officer for CannaSpyglass. And she's the founder and proprietor of Chicanna, a consultancy for cannabis sales, customer success, and operations. So glad to have you today. Been so looking forward to getting you on Industry Trailblazers. And, I have to just say it's been, so exciting for us at Leafwire to work with CannaSpyglass, and you've been just a huge part of that. And, every time, you're talking to a customer, every time you're on a call, you've just given so much of your time, and we appreciate it so much. And I'm so thankful for you and for CannaSpyglass. And so just wanted to say that at the outset. I'm a little biased at this point, but thanks for joining us today. And let's just start by hearing how you got started. How did you get into the cannabis industry?
Thank you, Mike. And it is a pleasure to be working with Leafwire. You all are a great big part of our community, and it's a pleasure working with you as well. So yes, my story of how I got into cannabis. Well, I grew up in South Texas, and marijuana or cannabis it was very stigmatized, a negative vibe. So I naturally didn't try it. Never tried it until I was in my late 20s. So then, once I finally tried it and, I felt like it actually worked for me. It helped me focus. Amongst other things, I could do my laundry and, do all the things I needed to do without all these other things in my mind. It really helped me. But that still didn't bring me into cannabis. So in college, I was a researcher with the intent of doing a PhD program and doing research. Doing research in an academic setting is a lot different than the real world. So I kind of learned that, through friends who were PhD chemists in these big companies and their lifestyle. I didn't want that. I liked researching and not having to research what someone else told me or what I needed to put on paper, all these things that pharmaceutical companies sometimes, you hear about. So the other thing that I did during college was I also worked with at-risk youth in some of the poorest zip codes in the nation in South Texas. And I taught at a zoo, which you probably didn't know that part. I taught at a zoo in the education department, working with at-risk kids and leadership development. So I kind of took that with me along the way. And I ended up, working for a nonprofit in Houston called Playworks that played a really big pivotal role in kind of my development and my career now. Oh my gosh.
That's lit. Lele, you're photobombing the Industry Trailblazers interview, honey. Okay.
I love that.
You can hang out.
Playworks, I worked with at-risk communities in Houston. I was still with Playworks when I came to Southern California. So it was a pleasure to work with, inner city elementary schools in the Houston area, multiple areas, and then here in Southern California, Los Angeles, Norwalk, Downey, La Mirada, inner city LA. Through all that, I kind of did also do some work on the social sciences side. I started a master's program and I started working for a tech-based company where I did curriculum and content, but I also kind of learned the business. It was a startup. It didn't even exist. It was called WeCare. It's now been, rebranded. But at the beginning, it was an app that didn't even exist. So I took that role. I left nonprofit and took that role. And then I kind of just was, completely dazed and amazed by everything startup. Starting a business, the idea of just starting it from nothing and, seeing that website and going, and it just seemed amazing. So that was really awesome. I did some time with WeCare, learned kind of all the business stuff, business side of things. And I did kind of become interested into the, in the cannabis side of things. I lived in Venice, California. Everything was booming right before COVID. The industry was still kind of doing okay over here in California. So I wanted to be in cannabis. I believed in the plant. It was medicine for me. It changed my life. And, coming from a community that's underprivileged and, see some issues that I feel, could be changed with proper social emotional and, teachings and just a healthier lifestyle. I really believe in the plan. I really wanted to, do something that was around the plant for the community that would bring good. And so when I got laid off during COVID, I was also kind of, on the, ready to kind of go to my next venture. So I took a few months off, studied, like quite a bit and looked for a role. I took a lower role with Amuse cannabis delivery service here in Los Angeles, in the warehouse, boots on the ground. And it was something totally different. I worked in a education setting in the community and then, at a zoo, and then in the tech environment, which ended up being really nice after, we grew and flourished. It was amazing. Then coming to a warehouse where there's one bathroom for 1 million people and all these things, inventory going missing, what? And it's your people and just all these crazy things that people who work for operators, see these things. It's just really, and of course, with regulations and security and all these things, we see progress. But yeah, I did all that and kind of moved up to corporate and kind of really got into the operational aspect of things. It was fun, building and optimizing and making things better and seeing it all flow in. So I really enjoyed all of that, and also just kind of doing community things here in LA, compassionate caregiving programs, things like that. And so, when I left Amuse, took like a couple months off trying to find, what my next role, what I really wanted to do. And in my mind, eventually it'd be amazing to be an operator, to do my own thing, to bring my chemistry back into play. As when I was a chemist, I was an inorganic material science chemist. I didn't smoke pot. I had never tried mushrooms or any sort of, psychedelic. And so now that I've learned more about these substances and explored and experimented, I'm curious and I would like to do my own thing. Now, is it the time? No, not for me. But, there is so much more that I can do around supporting the industry. So I wanted to learn the sales, the B2B sales. It seemed, pretty interesting learning. And so I took a role with a vape hardware company. And it was challenging, but I learned and I expanded my network. And I realized what I really like to do. And so, now I took this role with CannaSpyglass. I had been in the role before, and I tried CannaSpyglass before I parted ways with my previous company. And I had feedback and I shared it. And Adam was like, great. So do you want to come, fix these things and make these things better for our users? Absolutely. So I came in last year and it's been an absolute pleasure being part of this team. We do everything with our heart, with love, with passion. And, we're here for our clients. We're flexible. And I would say more than anything, what I bring to that is my experience and my passion to help others. So that kind of, I would like to believe that shines through in our work and in our service.
It absolutely does. It absolutely does. And that's a great segue then to maybe just talk more about CannaSpyglass and yeah, what exactly CannaSpyglass does. What is data as a service, and how do you provide value to the industry?
Absolutely. Thanks for asking. So yeah, data as a service, it's a new, kind of a thing. What does that mean? So, we're SaaS style company. We are subscription based. Of course, we have partnerships like with Leafwire, which is, one of a kind. You don't find that around. But what I would say is we have a data research team. So my support team is made up of data analysts as well. So I have a number of data analysts on my team who, and we chuckle about it, and it sometimes feels like that's their state. Like, even if they don't live in that state and they live in New Jersey, if if their state is Georgia, like that's their state, and they take a lot of pride in it. And we'll negotiate, and we'll get into the weeds with some of these licensing regulations and the terminology. And because sometimes licensing can be a little slow to update things online, as we know with public offices, state offices. You're looking at multiple people to push a deadline. The licensees or the operators applying, they still have to get their appointment with the fire marshal to come do. They have to do all those things aside of the stuff that licensing has to do. So all those things kind of affect that final license date. So we get into the weeds on the data, but data as a service, we're here. We have a database, an app that you all can log into, get in there, do it yourself. But we also have the ability for you to tap us on the shoulder and say, hey, I don't have time for this, but I'm going to this event. I need help with this. Or, hey, I'm really curious, or we're applying for a grant and we want to do. So we get all sorts of requests because we're able to support various, user personas and clients from different parts of the industry. So we get a number of different requests. And with those, we continue our research. This is how we bring in new data attributes. So on the data side, we do kind of aggregate and work on any data for cannabis and hemp license operators, US, Canada, Virgin Islands, Guam, all the territories. And then on the vendor side, we have an international vendor catalog. On the Cannabis Association side, as well. And so we're always looking to expand that. We also have a lot of data that users may not see. So on the international side, we keep up with the market. We know where High Tide is and what they're doing. We know how Germany is and Portugal. And so we have clients in South Africa, Spain. So we do keep up with the market on a global scale as well, although that may not be in our app. So, lots of data, lots of research and analytics. But it's always work in progress. Data's never perfect and data's never the same. And just
because it's constantly changing, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what data as a service, the model represents. You have a support team, but it's also a data support team. Being it, you don't see something doesn't mean we don't have it or we can't pull it. It might, that record might be quarantined for said reason. So we work very closely with our clients. Those that want, some people are just, we want to work on our own, cool. But if they want guidance and they need support, we're phone call, text, Slack, message, in-app message away.
Wow, that's great. Yeah, well, I'll tell you, it's certainly made a huge difference for us. And I get to witness this every day, and it's really true.
Just, switching gears a little bit, as a Chicana woman in the cannabis space, and you were mentioning that it is Hispanic Heritage Month in September. Maybe could you just talk about what your experience has been in the industry? What's it like as a woman of color in the cannabis industry?
Of course. Surprisingly, it's been quite positive, optimistic, and I would say the women who have set the tone and kind of started the true trailblazer women have really set the tone, and I feel supported. It's nice. In other industries, not so much. When I was, a chemist, I was in inorganic material science. Now there are probably many, many women, and I would go to conferences or events, and I was the only female, or sometimes they think you're the assistant, or you're the housekeeper, things like that. And so and maybe, in every area is different. LA is very diverse, but it's kind of weird because although I'm from, I live here in LA in California, now going on almost 10 years, I can't believe it. I spend so much of my time traveling, visiting, clients as well as just areas. The best way, I love traveling but the best way to learn about something and really get the idea is to go and meet and learn or speak to and research. Like, I really like to get the whole picture to really understand. What you get at face value or on paper isn't always everything. So being able to go to the places that we see on paper and that we see on the map and really feel what the industry has to offer there has been really positive. And that's part of, what I do. And so that being said, when I'm going to areas like Chicago and like DC, like Massachusetts, it's really nice to see my people. And it's really nice. The women of color in the cannabis industry, I know I've read articles. I don't know the exact number, but I have seen quite a significant increase in women of color in leadership roles within our industry. So that makes me very happy. I love seeing that. Yeah. So I would say if there was a word to say, how I feel as a Chicana, Latina, Hispanic, whatever we want to label it, woman, brown, I would say the tone feels positive, optimistic, and supportive. That may not carry through the entire U.S. or the entire world, but in my experience so far, it's going well.
Excellent. Well, I'm glad to hear that. And maybe now we could just kind of broaden it to the industry as a whole. I think, it seems like every year is hard. And now people are saying, oh, this has been a really tough year for the industry. We're seeing publications close. We're seeing people losing their jobs. We're seeing downsizing. We're seeing revenues drop. That was a headline we carried in the Daily Buzz the other day. 17 states had decreased medical revenue, I think was the headline. So can you talk about the industry, sort of where you see us at the moment during this time of contraction, really? How do you see things going?
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen those things as well, Mike. My team and I follow all the news, as well as just kind of the numbers, the markets. And so, like, for example, Washington, I noticed that one, the lowest numbers. It's crazy because we see things from this angle, like from the data side. We see all the data and then we see what's on the news, but we also have this, other kind of angle that maybe not everyone has. And that's the angle of what are our users doing in the app? What are they reporting? What are they requesting? So this is awesome. Like, I love research. I love learning. So when I see this, I'm like, oh, this is interesting. We had 12 people export Oregon, Washington, even though the numbers aren't looking as positive up there. What is going on? So there's all these little, we'll study and we'll go look in and find something, and, a unique perspective, or, maybe there was one article they got that going. So it's really nice to see from our angle, we get a unique perspective, I'd say. With regards to how the industry is going, it definitely does feel like the evolution of the cannabis industry has sped up a bit, which is, great. And, we can thank all the Trailblazers, NCIA, the Minority Cannabis Business Association, and all the people who are doing the hard work every day. And that you can see it. Like, I'm sure it gets very discouraging and very hard to continue that battle, especially being nonprofits in this economy. Yeah. But that work it's happening. And so I see it. I see that. I see the progress. Is it fast enough? It may not be fast enough for everyone. So, it's tough. But the good thing there is that our industry is very much kind of like, I like to say, like the streets, like old school. We are very much, a network and a community. And so, we help each other out. And not everyone expects help back or anything. We just, we know. And that's what I feel. And I feel like the way to kind of get through these tough times is by finding your people who will support you along that way. And maybe that changes, a business model, or maybe it creates a partnership. but remembering that we're in it together. So those who are truly like in it to win it and in it for the plant, I feel like they will prevail. It's just evolution.
I will take the opportunity to plug Leafwire. This is why Leafwire exists. It's about finding a safe community, and this. So Leafwire, yes, I totally agree with all of that. Okay, cool. Well, this is great. I guess maybe final question, and sort of kind of springboarding off the last one. What advice would you give to somebody who's coming into the cannabis industry today? Would you recommend it? Do you recommend people pursuing careers in the cannabis industry? What kind of advice would you give?
Yeah, it's a great question. So this is actually, thank you for asking. We actually, so when we have an internship program, which we started last year. We had one intern who is now part of our team, Michelle, and she is in New Jersey, which is awesome. But now that we're, kind of on the next year and she's joined us, we're expanding our internship program. And this is something that we've also been kind of, ruminating around and, chatting about, like how can we best support those individuals who want to come into the industry, especially at this hard time. And I would say find what really speaks to you, because at the end of the day, you're not going to make money right away. It's not going to be amazing. It's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy. There will be blood, sweat, and tears. So if you can't check that and you can't handle that, then maybe this industry is not the best for you at this time. But I would say it is it took me a lot to get into the industry, because California is a older market and people have been in for a while. So it also depends in the market that you're trying to penetrate. If you're trying to penetrate a market that's been around, now you're competing with people who've been in the industry for quite a while. So you'll get the cold shoulder or you'll get beat by someone else. You could be, versus if you're trying to enter a newer market. That being said, you're also entering new markets, you're also competing against all of us who have been in the industry for a while. So I would say at the base, you really have to love what you do. You have to want to learn and be ready for anything.
Yeah, and I think your CannaSpyglass and Leafwire were both examples of you can be in the industry and not be plant touching. And so there's also that. There's so many support and ancillary businesses that support the industry that have nothing to do with growing or selling the plant. So a lot of different ways to get involved. Okay, well, that's great, Rose. Thank you very much, and I so appreciate your time and having you on today. And looking forward to next chapters with Leafwire and CannaSpyglass. And so yes, thanks very much, and look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thanks, Mike. Likewise.
All right, take care.
Take care.